Hi, my name is Mary, and one of my goals for 2022 was to start a booktube channel. I love booktube, I watch it all the time, and I wanted to join with my own videos. So this is my first one, hence the awkwardness. I mean, maybe even after a lot, I'm probably still gonna be awkward because that's just who I am as a person. Important things to know about me. The love of my life is Miss Grace Kelly. If you see Boston Terrier paraphernalia slash merchandise, I don't know what paraphernalia actually means. I promise I actually do read. But if you see Boston Terrier merch around, it's because I'm obsessed. So that's the love of my life. I think a good first video is going to be me showing you guys my current bookshelves. They do flux a lot. And I also have, so I have 4 here, and then I have another one at home. I'm incredibly lucky to be able to own this many books. I don't think that you need to have this many books. Honestly, I feel like book collecting and book reading are 2 separate hobbies that I just happen to have both. I do have, thinking just to give a overview, I have a lot of unread books because what I usually do is as soon as I read a book, I will only keep it if I really liked it. So usually it's like 4 or 5 stars. Once in a while it'll be like a 3.5 star I'll keep if it's like something that has sentimental meaning to me. But mostly the books that I have read on here are books that I've really loved, which means fraction-wise, I think a large majority of these are gonna be unread books. I think a majority. I don't know about a large majority. I could do the math pretty easily probably because I have a Goodreads that I'll leave linked below that is very accurate, very up to date. And I have shelves on it, and what I do is once I have like a TBR, like the want to read, and that's filled with so many books. So I have a separate shelf that is TBR, but I call it owned unread. So those are books that I physically own that I haven't read. So it's like a physical TBR or a physical like to be read, want to read shelf. And so I guess I could do the math, but I probably won't. Sometimes it's not great to like see your problem because I definitely do need to stop buying, but I just love pretty books and I have no self-control when it comes to bookshelves. I really don't. Okay, I think that's it. On to the bookshelf tour. Okay, starting with a general overview. Ignore the rest of the mess, I'm sorry. But here we got one shelf. I said that was one shelf. That's actually 2 shelves. So these are the other 2 shelves. They are all the same shelf. They are the lava shelves shelves from IKEA, and I got them on sale for $20 each, which is incredible. It basically means that like all 4 of these shelves ended up being the same. I'm sorry, my floor is creaky. All 4 of these shelves ended up being the same as like one Billy bookcase in IKEA, and they hold so much more. So I am very happy with that. So this is the first top shelf, and these are mostly special editions. I have some like Illumicrate, Owl Crate, Fairy Loot, and some Waterstone special editions on here. And the ones that I have read are The Devil Makes 3. I've read both TJ Klune books. Absolutely adore them. They fill my heart with so much joy. I've read This Woven Kingdom, really liked it. Loved The Thursday Murder Club. See, a duplicate, so I have read This Woven Kingdom. And I've read The Maid. So this is a pre-order incentive for the Atlas 6, which is my current read right now. And this is a pin from Dreamy & Co, and it is Addie LaRue inspired. It says, "There is a defiance in being a dreamer." I'm gonna pull these out as a favorite. So Under the Whispering Door and House of the Cerulean Sea. And look at these edges. Ugh. Specifically House of the Cerulean Sea, those edges are so stunning with the cover. Like, look at that. Oh, such a beaut. beautiful inside and out, honestly. This Woven Kingdom I recently read and loved. This is the Waterstones edition with the red sprayed edges. This is the Fairy Loot edition, or Illumicrate. I think it's actually Illumicrate. This is the Illumicrate edition, and these edges are so pretty. Like, even just the book, stunning. But look at these edges. Oh my god. Honestly, all of these books have beautiful edges. This is like a special edition shelf. You know what? In the future, I think I'll do a video going through which special editions I have, or like which are my favorites. Moving on to the next shelf. I'm gonna start with trinkets for this one. I have these two little doggy statues. I love dogs. I have this, which lights up. I got it from somebody on Facebook. Are the batteries dead? No. Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry the batteries are dead, but you can kind of see what the design is, and it lights up. I'll have to replace the batteries on that. That's so sad. But I have double copies. I have the Fairy Loot editions of the Spin the Dawn and Unravel the Dusk, as well as 6 Crimson Cranes. I have the sequel coming as well. And then I have the US editions because I just think these covers are so pretty. I personally love character art, specifically like drawn ones. I think they're stunning. So I really like those. So I had to get the US editions too. I have read Spin the Dawn. So this really liked it, and I'm excited to continue the series. This is Haruki Murakami, IQ84. We have a little pig with a coin, and we have a dragon with leaves on him. He's super cute, and I love him. I've only read Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami, and I really loved that one. It is a little weird, but I loved it. So I'm really excited to try out more Murakami. Oh, that's not true. I also read his short, like, memoir, kind of. I think it's like what we talk about when we talk about running, and I thought it was okay, but I personally enjoy his fiction a little bit more. This book that you can't see, the title that's facing out, is Spine Out, is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. Here we got my first Sarah J. Maas shelf. I have like half of another shelf. She used to have 2 full shelves, but then I had too many books, so I had to consolidate. But I keep this shelf reserved for just Throne of Glass because it's my favorite of her series. I haven't read Crescent City so far, but I've read all of ACOTAR, including A Court of Silver Flames, and I actually haven't read all of Throne of Glass. I made it through until Tower of Dawn. You can see kind of where, let me see. My bookmark is like right here in Tower of Dawn. So I made it very early on into Tower of Dawn. And then my life just got super hectic. So I ended up putting it on pause. And then I wanted to, and instead of just keep going, I was like, you know what? I haven't read it in a very long time. And so I was like, I'm just gonna refresh. And so I started from the beginning. So I've reread Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight. They're also annotated, which I can show off my annotations at a later point. This is, so we have the collector's edition of Throne of Glass. I have the 7 books, and then the Barnes & Noble special edition with the cover faced out. I like just reverse the dust jacket. These dust jackets are from Fake Crate, I believe. And I have the candle, which is Training in Mistward. So I'm saving it for when I get to Heir of Fire. Ooh. I'm saving it for when I get to Heir of Fire in my reread. And then the sword is from Fairy Loot, and it's like a letter opener, and it's supposed to be Damaris. This is Goldrin, so not the same sword. At least I think it is. I have this little Polaroid, which says, "We can survive well enough on our own if given the proper reading materials." The rest of the quote, I think it's I, is the real quote, but it's super cute. It's got Selena and Fleetfoot, and she's reading. Relatable. I have this little Funko Pop of Selena that I made. I know it's like mostly just the Game of Thrones character, but it's Selena to me, okay? It's Selena to me. And then I have this one of Rowan that I also made. And I'm most proud of the tattoos that I gave him. Because his tattoos, to me, this is like what I imagine they look like, because they're supposed to be a language. And so I'm like, this could be a language. As an overview, I have these like little star twinkle lights. Haha. Okay. Oh, behind this throne of glass, I have the paperbacks annotated. Oh, this dust jacket. You know, I should pull this dust jacket out. This is, you can tell on my reread, I'm now at Assassin's Blade. My first read through, I read Assassin's Blade first, and then I read Throne of Glass. And honestly, I think that that is the best way to read it because my heart was torn from my body and it's never been reconnected since. Yeah. But on this reread, I wanted to see what everyone else was like saying when they say read it in this order. So I read Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and then now I'm reading Assassin's Blade. So I'm trying it the other way around. I do still think the original way I read it was a lot more impactful, especially if you don't know spoilers. If you know spoilers about what's going to happen in Assassin's Blade, then it might be best to start with Throne of Glass. But yeah, I had to get this dust jacket because how pretty. Look at this art, isn't it insane? It's like so beautiful. My only pet peeve with this is that it doesn't have the title on the spine. I don't like when they do that, but the art is just so pretty, I had to. But the reason why the book is not inside is because I'm reading it. We have a Eye of Elena little replica necklace that I got off of Etsy. She's super cute. We love her. I have Crescent City 1 and 2, and I have the tour edition as well for Crescent City 2. This is the Akratar series. These are the original hardcovers, but I don't have the, I mean, I have the original dust jackets, but instead I have the Juniper books dust jackets on them. This is A Court of Mist and Fury, and this girl on Depop actually spray painted these edges for me. Literally so beautiful, but I think she just shut down her shop, which is sad because her book's quality is incredible. Such a talented artist, but I completely understand. Then I have the Cruel Prince series. These are actually the Barnes & Noble special editions, like the black ones. It's the same as this one, the King of Elfame. But instead of those covers, I put on the dust jacket set, which I really don't remember where it's from. If you're interested, let me know, I can look it up. But very pretty. And we have some other Fairy Loot books on top and a Luma crate. Moving on to the shelf right below. These are just like a random assortment of books. Grave Mercy and Courting Darkness are both by Robin Lefevre's. And Robin Lefevre's, is that how you pronounce it? And they look kind of similar, but they're not in the same series. I thought they were. They're not. From this shelf, I've read The Coldest Girl in Cold Town. I really love that book. I think that book is super underrated. And I've read A Spindle Splintered, which is that one, by Alex E. Harrow. When I first read it, I gave it 4 stars, but thinking back on it, I think it's actually a little bit lower. Just because it's so short, it was like hard to develop like actual feelings for the characters. But I'm interested to read the sequel. This is the pre-order pin that I got with that. Okay. Moving along, I have some medical books, fun. I have a little Dr. Funko, a little ladybug. I have this statue of Hippocrates, my man. I've read Dr. Muter's Marvels, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, The Spirit Catches You and You Fall Down. That's a really good book about the Hmong people, I think is how you pronounce it, and epilepsy. And I've read The Real Doctor Will See You Shortly, and that's like, it was a very funny book. I enjoyed it a lot. 2 cool books that I want to point out here are like thrifted. This is the T.S. Eliot collected poems. So I have a lot more like thrifted old books at my like family home, but this one's pretty cool. Whoever owned this book before me wrote some poetry as well. And so I think that that's really amazing and meaningful. And then this book is called Auscultation and Percussion. How cool is this book? Ugh. Not it taking a nosedive after I complimented it. If you can see, it has like an imprinting. It says Oxford Medical Publications. It's this tiny little book. This one is actually super old. Let's see. Yeah. So this one's from 1908, which is super cool. Auscultation and percussion, together with the other methods of physical examinations of the chest. Super cool book. Very excited to read this one. We have some memoirs here. I have read actually most of these, I think. I've read Becoming, I've read Together, I've read Why We Swim. Why We Swim is so good. I've read Know My Name, amazing book, breaks your heart. Spilt Milk, read it, really enjoyed it. This author was my professor at college, which was so cool to hear when she was publishing, and I immediately pre-ordered it and read it and loved it. It's a collection of short stories. It's like a memoir though. And then these are just journals. This is my journaling journal. This is my journaling journal where I write down thoughts. This is my life journal. This is my book journal. And this is a journal where I write some favorite quotes. The tchotchkes that I have are this like pair of dice, this beautiful artwork of Addie LaRue, which why isn't she up there with Addie LaRue? Because I don't have space. I have this vintage camera, which we got antique shopping from a friend. It was an awesome gift. I love it. This is the overview of the shelf. From these books, I have not read much. I've only read the first 3 of the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. Really enjoyed it. Oh, I did the wrong. The first 3 is this way. This is the 4th. So the first 3 of the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I have read The Last Magician. Loved it. I really want to read the second one, but I'm kind of trying to wait until the last one in the series comes out. And then I have The Beholder and the Boundaries, or The Boundless and the Beholder, and then the Serpent and Dove series. Last 2 on this side. If you see like these books over here, I bought these books to try to paint them. I have not yet done it. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you know if I'm successful. I have a small like horror collection, very tiny. I have some other like horror books interspersed. So I have like White Smoke by Tiffany G. Jackson elsewhere. You will see it later. But for now, this is just a like pure horror shelf, I believe. And then right next to it, I have Super Bright Shoujo Manga, Maid Sama. I actually have the entire series, but the rest of the series is at my family home. But I had to just have like the first 4 with me at least. This is actually the first 8 because they're double bound. But this is one of 2 mangas that I've read fully through. I read it as I was coming out online. And I absolutely love this manga, love this anime. I rewatched this anime so many times. It just brings me so much joy. I wish they continued it. It breaks my heart that they didn't. It was so good. I have this tin. It's a quote from Illuminae, which I have not read. Here in this shelf, these are all graphic novels. So there's manga. This is manga, graphic. So manga, graphic novels, and regular novels with like a lot of visual aspects. So like Illuminae has a lot of visual aspects. I know I don't have the middle one for that series. On this side, I haven't really read anything minus Lore Olympus. Like Lore Olympus, I read on Webtoon. I like started it really early as it was coming out. So of course, I've already pre-ordered the 2nd and 3rd ones. It's funny, you can pre-order them both. So I've pre-ordered them both. I love Lore Olympus. I am down to reread them now physically, now that I have them. The last shelf in these 2. These are collections. So this collection was originally supposed to be just like feminist books. So like Invisible Women, Female of the Species, Good and Mad. These are all supposed to be like very like feminist as a main theme. The only problem is that there are some books that I haven't read on here. And so I don't know if their main theme is feminism or if it's like a big theme in the book. Eventually, once I have enough nonfiction feminist books, I think I'm just gonna categorize it just like that, because those are just easier to say like, oh yes, this is 100% just feminism. The ones that I've read on here are Rules for Being a Girl. Undead Girl Gang, Good and Mad, and Invisible Women and the Female of the Species. I really want to just point out Invisible Women. I think it's incredible. Then I have some like random little notebooks. And then my mom got me this book. My mom got me this book. It's a book made about my dog. I'm running out of daylight, so I'll try to speed it up. But I have the Shadow and Bone series. Oh, I really loved Big Friendship. This is the Book of the Month edition. Really loved it. Beast of Prey, also really liked. Pet was incredible. Good Talk, loved it. So freaking funny. And it's like a graphic novel. This is a Jennifer L. Armentrout shelf. As you can see, it is very stacked. And I also have more of her in another area, as well as in my family home. Like, this woman just writes so many books, and I really do enjoy a lot of them. So the ones on here that I've read all of the Origin series, all of the Lux series, actually. Minus Obsession. I have not read Obsession. So I've read all of these. I have not read The Deadlist. I've not read these, which is a sequel to the Lux series. I read the first 2 books in the From Blood and Ash, really enjoyed them. This is the Illumicrate edition of From Blood and Ash and the Fairy Loot editions of From Blood and Ash. So, as you can tell, I don't have self-control, and I really like the first 2. And then that's A Shadow in the Ember. Here I have the ones here. The only one I've read is The Problem with Forever. I really, really liked it, obviously. I think it had a lot of good quotes about, like, don't let fear, like, stop you. Just keep going. This is just so not eloquent, but it had a lot of good quotes that I felt could apply to my own life. Moving on down, I have the collector's edition of Red Queen. It's got, like, the red sprayed edges. Shadow and Glass, I believe, is, like, a Lit Joy one, maybe? Pine is Waterstone, so it has sprayed edges. White Smoke and Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. Oh, I've read and loved those books. It's hard to say that I love them. It's like, I wouldn't say I enjoyed them, but they're so good. Like, Tiffany D. Jackson just knows how to make your hackles stand up and just make you feel so uncomfortable. Oh, it's just so good. Specifically, Monday's Not Coming was just my favorite. Oh, the entire time my heart was like stopped, basically, because you know but you don't know. Oh, that book just hits. Same as right next to it, If These Wings Could Fly. Such a heartbreaking book. I have a lot of Chima. I've not read any, but I hope they're good. The only other ones that I've read on here are, I have read the first 2 in this series, the Crown of Feathers series by Nikki Palpretto, and I really enjoyed them. Moving on here, I have Percy Jackson, and I have middle grade, and then also picture books. I have, like, my childhood favorite was Phantom Tollbooth. Matilda, I love the movie, but I never actually read the book until, like, last year. And I really liked the book as well. So we got middle grade. I have not ever read Percy Jackson, so I had to get it to see what is the hype. And then these are 2 other picture books. This is one, like, vintage one about Boston Terriers, which I read. I don't know if I would recommend it. It was good. It was good. But I don't think you would like it unless you love Boston Terriers. And then this picture book, though, I recommend to everybody. It's so good. I want my hat back. This is literally peak humor. I absolutely adore it. And then we have these books. Let me see if I've read any of these. I don't think I have. Oh, actually, I read Cloud Atlas, like 70% of it in school. And then I was like reading it last minute, and then I wrote my essay, I submitted it, and then I just never finished it. So but I really enjoyed it, so I definitely want to go back to that one. Over here I have a lot of arcs. I get these from the thrift store. I do not get sent arcs. Here is a candle, The Bold and the Ruthless. This is such a cool candle. This is based on Renegades by Marissa Meyer. It's like this. It smells really good. But basically what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to burn it, and then if it's either red or blue, you know whether you're an anarchist or a renegade. You can kind of see. So it. So like if it's red, you're an anarchist, and if it's blue, you're a renegade. Super cool. The arcs end here, and then these are finished copies. I have read Fallen Kingdoms, really liked it. And then I started the second one right away because it ends on a cliffhanger, but then I never finished the second one. But I'm excited to continue it. I have a Salman Rushdie. I have a Salman Rushdie.
It's with author Salman Rushdie.
Salman Rushdie collection. Actually haven't read any of his works, but they all really interest me. And then I have 2 Becky Chambers books. I read A Psalm for the Wild Built. Absolutely loved it. Ugh, just one of those like heartwarming books. And it got like so much accomplished in such a short amount of time. Final shelf, and then I'll give you like bonus books that I just have on dressers. These are all books that are, so these are like historical books about Georgia, and then the rest are translated into English. These are Georgian works. My parents are immigrant. My parents immigrated here, and so I really want to reconnect with that. So I'm looking to read a lot of Georgian literature. This is like the most like famous and well-known one, The Knight in the Tiger Skin. But I'm definitely finding it difficult to get some like English translations. Like even these ones, these 2, a relative brought me them from Georgia because there's no way to access these in the US, which is very sad and upsetting, but what are you gonna do? So I definitely want to read more Georgian literature and reconnect. I have this special edition of Lord of the Rings, which I got during the Barnes & Noble half-off hardcover sales. Otherwise I definitely would not be able to afford it. But the reason why it's on this shelf is because I always thought that Georgian writing and Elvish look kind of similar. Like, I really think they do. Bear and the Nightingale. I think it's like Winter of the Witch. Or no, Bear and the Nightingale, which I read the first 2, but not the last one. This is the Fairy Loot edition. This is like Russian folklore, which is why I keep it separated from this. I'm kidding. And then this book is such a cool find that I found. Such a cool thrift store find. It is a book written in Japanese. The reason why I had to pick it up was because I was like, oh, this is the information about it that I found online when I did some research. This is the name of the book, and they made a movie about it, so I really want to watch the movie. I don't know if they're ever going to come out with a translation of the book. I really want to read it, but what really sold me on this is this. How cool is this? It was like mysterious. I loved it. So I'm really interested to see the movie. I think it's like a crime fiction movie. This is a favorites shelf, another favorite shelf. I have all of Margaret Rogerson's work, all 5 stars, adore her books. This is a metal bookmark from the Fairy Loot edition of this book, Only a Monster. This is Vespertine, the Fairy Loot edition of Vespertine, which is this book by Margaret Rogerson. All loved it. Right, yeah, and Ember and the Ashes Quartet from Fairy Loot. Oh, these books were so hard to find. I was able to trade for them. Just got super lucky. Absolutely adore these books. Oh, did it rip my heart out. I can't believe she did what she did. Absolutely unbelievable. If you love specifically, I'm gonna say this for fans of ACOTAR, you might be like, oh, like this is not fairies, this is completely different folklore and mythology. Like this is all about like jinns. Super interesting. It was the first series that I read about that. I don't want to spoil anything, but honestly, the only way to know what I mean is to read both A Court of Thorns and Roses, the series. If you read that and if you read at least the first 2 books, you'll know exactly what I mean. Really good. And then this is the US covers, because I really love the US covers. Like this. Like I said, I'm a fan of character art. And then these are the editions of Kingdom of the Wicked and Kingdom of the Curse. These are Fairy Loot. This is Barnes & Noble. And then this is The Devil in the Dark by Stuart Turton. I've read all of these. Got These are the Fairy Loot Edition edges. Stunning. And then Devil in the Dark Waters of Waterstones. Look at that. So beautiful. How cute is that? Come on. So cute. I've not read most of these books, except I have read Kafka and the Shore. Loved it, like I said. Thorn. Ooh. Yeah. Excuse me. Red Thorn, adored it. That's the Fairy Loot edition. This is the Broken in the Binding. Nope, it's the Binding and the Betrayals. These are Waterstones. This is Kafka and the Shore. This is the Folio Society edition. This shelf is very different because it's super bright. I have the Tessa Dare hardcovers, which are, I think, like the library binding ones, because I really, really don't like mass market paperbacks. Not even just the way that they look, but they're hard to read because they're so thick and small. So I had to, but I love her books. I've read these three. I've not read this series yet. Which, like, Mood. Look at this. Mood. But, so I've read these three. Absolutely adored them. She's my favorite historical romance author. Have not read this one yet. I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Have not read The Chase. And that's not even here. It was good, though. I liked it. Love Hypothesis. I read, loved. Twice in a Blue Moon. I've read so many Christina Lawrence. This is the only one that I actually like enough to want to own. Really enjoyed it. Oh, but this is a letter that I got from Helen Huang. It's a message I got from Helen Huang. She wrote it to me. So I am that bitch. That's me. I have her entire series. Oh, these are my hearts. Absolutely love them. Honestly, The Bride Test might be my all-time favorite romance book ever. Like, period, ever. I sobbed reading this. I know some people might not be like, this is not a sad book. Like, this is a lot more sad, but I just sobbed. It's the tropes in this really get me. Red, White, and Royal Blue I read. It was good. Actor Age Eve Brown. I've read all of the Brown Sisters trilogy. This is just the only one that I have, but read, love them. They're so good. Hating Game, also read and loved. Meet Cute, read and loved. Are we sensing a theme? So a lot of my romance shelf is more red, which tells you, which may tell you something about me. The Flat Chair and the Switch, these, Beth O'Leary, honestly, Beth O'Leary, I used to say she was my favorite romance author, but then I read The Road Trip and I absolutely hated it. Like, to the point where now I'm like, maybe you're not my favorite. So I like actually now don't feel comfortable saying she's a favorite, even though love both of these books, and specifically The Switch is like one of my top 5 romance books that I've ever read. But she did me dirty with the road trip. I think it's called The Road Trip. So she got demoted. But these are the UK covers. I had to just get them shipped because they're so much prettier, I think. I'm not a fan of the US covers. I'm just gonna take these out. Yeah, these are just the regular UK paperbacks. I think they're prettier. Eris Gets a Duke, Birthday Girl, and The Spanish Love Deception. I really enjoyed all of these. This one I got signed and personalized, which is super fun. Eris Gets a Duke. This is the only hardcover edition. I tried to get like a library binding, but I don't even think they made one because I can't get my hands on a hardcover of the second book. They only have the mass market paperback, and it's killing me. Book of the month only printed the first book. Ugh. So if you are like me, and you end up reading this and really liking it, write to Book of the Month to get them to print the next one. Because what the heck? Literally canceled my subscription after. And then the final shelf. These are the Barnes & Noble special editions. These are the Barnes & Noble Classics editions. We've got Edgar Allan Poe, William Shakespeare, Sherlock Holmes, Jane Austen, Grimm's Fairy Tales, the Iliad and Odyssey, and those are all. Oh, and then the Hitchhiker's Guide. And then I also have the Louisa May. I have Little Women, the 150th anniversary edition. I have this Pride and Prejudice, which is the LitJoy exclusive. I have this book, which is honestly one of my most anticipated reads. And then I have two of these like fake fairy loot books where you can put stuff inside. And I have bookmarks in one and character cards in the other. And then these are other just classics that I have that I want to read soon. Back to bright lights. I'm sorry I don't have great lighting over there, the other space. But this is when you walk into my front door. This is what you see. It's like a little credenza. And on top of it, I have, this is the Fairy Loot bookends for ACOTAR. I have a bunch of art stuff, like art prints, and also just like drawings. A lot of these cards are from Fairy Loot. I have pin banners. I have this snow globe that my parents made me, just super sweet. They put like a little Gracie inside. I have this candle, which is too pretty to burn. It's like a skull. And then I have these paperbacks. This is just like overflow, honestly. This is not meant to be a book place, but overflow has to go somewhere. Here, I've read With a Fire on High, My Dark Vanessa, 10,000 Doors for January, Troublesome Creek, and I've read Night Swim. I can't even pick a favorite, honestly. There's just such different styles. Going on to here. It's hard to say like, oh, I've read like Edgar Allan Poe, because I've read some of them, but I haven't read all of them, so I'm not going to put that on. Oh, I've read that. I have read The Last Time I Lied. Really enjoyed it. That's my favorite Riley Sager book, actually. I've read all of his work, minus the most recent two. And I usually think they're okay or don't like them. The only one I really liked. And here, the only one I've read is... This is hard to see what that was with Shadow Fox. The only one I've read from here is Small Favors. And I was not going to read this. This was like not on my radar, but it came up on my like Libby account, and so I was like, yeah, I'll read it, whatever. Really enjoyed it. Super unexpected. This is the dresser in my bedroom. So the last one in this apartment, honestly I don't even know if this should count as a bookshelf, but it is a shelf on which I put books, so I'm counting it. I do have a nightstand with like things that I'm currently reading, but if you want to see what I'm currently reading, you should go on Goodreads. This is the other part of the JLA, Jennifer L. Armentrout books that I have in this apartment. These are all actually signed though from her shop, so super exciting. And then these are the Fairy Loot editions of The Diviners. I have read only the first one, but I really loved it, and I hope to enjoy the rest. This is my third time filming an outro, because the first time it wasn't in the frame, like I was like in the corner, and then the second time it wasn't even facing the right direction. So hopefully you can see me. But anyways, if you stuck around this long, thank you so much. You're an absolute trooper. I hope you got to know a little bit more about me and that this was even a little bit interesting. Honestly, if you have any questions or even comments or literally anything, leave it down below. Thank you again. Stay well. Bye. I have no idea what I've said and what I haven't said. Fun fact is, this is actually, I bought two right ones, so this is actually backwards, but oh well. The books are tightly bound in here. Oh, that's my name. I'm sorry, I got distracted.